Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alice. We talk about books. Sometimes we do lifestyle and vlog content. So if you're looking for someone to stick on in the background whilst you make yourself a meal, clean your room, do that thing you've been putting off for the longest time, or you just want someone to listen to, then I'm your gal. So consider hitting that subscribe button. Come on in, join the family. It is free and you can unsubscribe at any time. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for your continued support. Let's get on with today's video. Today we're talking about The Maze Runner. Woo! I know, I read it, guys. I read it. And that completes my non-negotiable list. So I officially do not have a book buying ban, but we'll talk more about that in Thursday's video. Alright, so stay tuned for that. Today we're going to have a sole focus on The Maze Runner. So I actually got this book from a charity shop, so I didn't treat it this way. It was a little bit something, but it has been well appreciated nonetheless. So good find, good find. Let's get on with it, shall we? Have you ever read The Maze Runner? Let me know in the comments down below. This was one that I missed out, you know, that kind of, when I was a teenager, I was reading Divergent, Hunger Games, that kind of stuff. Although I actually did, fun fact, I stopped reading the Hunger Games because it got really depressing. So let me know if we should go back to that. I feel like I should, but it's a lot. I always skip this one, but I am really enjoying it now. So, spoiler! Okay, just a little disclaimer. There might be some spoilers in this video, so if you haven't watched the film or you haven't read the book, then maybe go watch something else, go away, read it, come back, watch this video, just because I don't want to accidentally spoil anything for you. But you know, if you're not bothered or you've read it before, then you know, let's keep going. All right, so I actually watched the film before I read this book, so I've watched all 3 films. I always knew the book was going to be better, and in my opinion I feel like it was better. I think some things in the plot were actually different. I think I watched the film maybe a few months ago, back in summertime, so I might not remember it that well. I'm usually pretty good memories with things like this, but I don't know if I remember it that well. I do remember it being kind of different. So yes, but let's talk about it. Bring out the trusty laptop. As always, one time I will tell you about these dents, but today is not that day, unfortunately. Let's talk about it. So I actually found it really hard to rate this book because it had this insane sense of nostalgia about it, even though I've never read it. And I just feel like things that you like and you enjoy and you have that nostalgic feeling, you're always a little bit more biased towards it. Like, you want it to do well, you're striving for excellence. I don't know if my review is a little bit biased. I did take a day, that's why I didn't talk about it on Saturday, as I mentioned in my video. I did take a day, a little bit of time to really think about it, because I feel like I had to put my review into words, because I just loved it. And it was so weird though, because when I finished, even though it was something new that I had never read before, I felt like it could have been a book that I'd read like hundreds of times. It was a really interesting one, it was. But without further ado, I will stop waffling on and we'll actually get down to it, the nitty gritty. Let's do it. I gave The Maze Runner, drum roll please, I gave this an 8 out of 10. I know, it's pretty high. It is pretty high, which equates to a 4-star. So I would say this is a 4-star read. I mean, to be honest with you, everything's individual anyway. And for me, I couldn't give it less than a 4-star. I couldn't give it less than a 4-star because there were so many things I enjoyed about it. Like I said, this sense of nostalgia was just amazing. And yeah, I think it deserves it. I do, I really do. Obviously, this book doesn't have spice. It is aimed, I believe, at younger adults. It's that kind of typical dystopia novel, so it's not a spicy book. Don't go looking for spice in The Maze Runner, okay? And if asked would I recommend this book, I said yes, I absolutely loved it. I would say if you haven't read it, you should definitely give it a go. If it's been one of those that's been on your shelf since you were the age of 13 and you never got around to it, today's the day. Go pick it up, or in the next few weeks or so. But I definitely feel like this should be something that you've read once in your life, you know? Now the moment we've all been waiting for, the review. Let's do it. Said, what a start to the series. I've absolutely loved it. It was so nostalgic in the best way, and I had such an enjoyable time reading it. I genuinely, even though there were some things in it that I guess were a little bit sad here and there, and a little bit like, what? The overall consensus was I was enjoying my time. I was excited to read this book, and I was sad when I didn't have time to pick it up. Snaps and claps. I loved the character development and the world building. You guys know I love a good old world build, you know, get it all up, create the universe. So obviously this kind of book, this genre, which I guess is kind of like dystopian YA fiction, I guess I would say. This definitely has a lot of world building in it, so I love that. I really do. do. And I'm excited to read the prequel to this as well, to sort of get a little bit more context, which will be great. But you know, we are going to do 1, 2, 3 first and then go back. That was why I decided in the end, okay? I was itching to read the next one straight away, and as you know from Saturday, we're really struggling to choose between the two, but I think I have made my decision. I have decided to continue the Maze Runner, but I might also start Iron Flame at the same time, so I can kind of read them alongside each other. But we'll see how well the balance goes. But I have started the Scorch Trials because it just felt like the next right move, so that's what we went for. Okay, that's what we did. I hope you agreed with me. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's the plan, because I know Iron Flame I will get really into, and I feel like it's just a commitment to do the 600. I'd rather do the other Maze Runner and then quickly read Iron Flame before I go away to Asia. So I think that's kind of the plan. That's what we're going for. Okay, so bear with. We're going to be hopefully chugging these out. This week I kind of finished the work that I'm doing, and so it'll be a little bit more chill, a little bit more time to read, so we'll be back up in good speed, you know? I couldn't give this book a 10 out of 10 because there were a few bits that didn't really hit the mark. For example, in the book, I feel like Albie's character was really irrelevant. I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong, but I feel like in the film he had a little bit more something about him, but in this book he really was just kind of a bit of a wet wipe, to be honest, and either infuriated me or just made me be like, what's the point? And I feel like just everything surrounding him was a bit futile, to be honest, but that's okay because the other characters more than made up for it. Obviously we love New. Gally got a bit more development in this book, which was great, and obviously little Chuck, you know, good times. But I feel like some of the characters were a little less developed than in the film, but then if the film are working with multiple books, I don't know how it worked at the time or it had come out, but then maybe they already had more character development. I'm excited to see where it goes in the next one, basically. But yeah, just about Albie, it was a little bit harsh on reading about what I wrote now, but I feel like this kind of summed it up for me. I just thought that he kind of didn't really add much, and then spoiler, big spoiler, so close your ears for a second if you are persevering. His death just kind of was a bit cowardly in a way, because we know he didn't want to go back out to the world, so it wasn't this big sacrifice that I think maybe would have had a different impact, and honestly it was just futile, so I don't really know why we did that, but you know, each to their own. I feel like he didn't have any progression going forward, so it is what it is, I guess. The relationships between the characters, like Newt and Thomas and Chuck, they were a lot more dynamic in the book, and they were a lot more developed, and I really liked the way the characters bounced off each other. And actually when I was reading it, I wasn't really picturing the actors that played them, but I could just feel the characters more, so I quite enjoyed that element of this. The dynamic of the Gladers in general was also a lot better in the book than the film. I feel like it came across more, we kind of understood the world a bit more and had a lot more going on, and I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy that. I think the maze scenes and the bits with the grievers were really well written. Like, it had the perfect amount of tension, but it wasn't enough to be super scary. You kind of felt the intensity of the moment, and I feel like that was really well achieved. So some snaps and claps, fantastic writing going on in this book. Teresa was also less annoying than in the film. Nothing against her character. I just felt in the film, like, I love the actress that plays her, but I just don't know, she came across a little bit more grating rather than helpful, whereas in this book she came across as a bit more hard-headed, head screwed on, helpful in some kind of way. That's how it came across. I don't know, I feel like I also preferred her character in the book, so that was a win. That was definitely a win. Although I love Will Poulter as an actor, and he was great as Gally in the film, I feel like he was a different Gally than was in this book, and I feel like Gally was better in this book. I feel like he might have some more layers of complexity than we actually get given in the film, because obviously they don't have time to do everything and delve into every single character, so I feel like he might actually have some more complexity in the books, and I'm quite excited for that development. Hopefully we will get this development. I feel like, yeah, I really enjoyed the dynamic of everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just enough to be like, oh, not you again, but also you kind of want to see what happens, you know? I definitely did have the film in the back of my head, so sometimes I maybe compared it a little bit too much, which might might have made me a little bit more critical of it, but I mean 8 out of 10 I still think is really, really high and a 4-star read, you know. I still think it deserves that, but I definitely did have a bit of comparing going on, maybe too much, which sometimes was a shame because I kind of wanted to give it its fair chance. But like I said, the book for me was so much better, so it actually really didn't impact too much. Just overall, I am really excited to delve deeper into this series. I hope we get more development, more world building, and I'm excited to see how they're gonna kind of, they started like very briefly at the end, but I'm kind of excited to see how they're going to, well, how he's going to write the flare and everything that happens in the Scorch Trials. So I'm quite excited for that, to be honest. So I think that's everything I have to say about the Maze Runner. All in all, I really enjoyed it. I think that it deserves so much praise, so much love, and like I said, if you haven't read this, definitely go pick it up. If you have, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's even better that it wrapped up my non-negotiable reads, which, as I said, will be coming on Thursday, and we'll talk about those. Good times, eh? Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Have you subscribed? Thank you very much, and as always, until the next one, I'll see you then. Bye. Oh, my posture when I film these are not so good. So I gave the drum roll